Uh, well, hello, welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Friday in the Riv, and the snow's still on the ground, and more snow coming.
Yep,
So,
and everyone's complaining. They don't want to follow the rules. The parking ban is still in effect. It will be in effect until Monday, if not later. Okay? Even on my street, across the street, everyone thinks it's their right to block the street. They park when they're not supposed to be parked. The trash truck couldn't come by today, and it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then they bitch because their trash didn't get picked up. I turned around, I caught them. I turned around and I said, look, I said, you parked there. You're not supposed to park there. You're lucky your car didn't get wet. Mind your own effing business. Don't
well, I'm
complain.
surprised it hasn't heard. Hey, guys, Jimmy, Jeff, and Gene are already. What's up, guys? Yeah, it's a nut house out there.
Yeah, it is. And then Carol Fiola, out of manna from the sky, comes in and says, "Oh, I did it for you. You can now park in the Lafayette Pool parking lot because I am wonderful. Kneel before me."
Adeline, how you doing? Yeah, well, I mean, look, this is typical government. They can't do anything right. Listen, I feel sympathetic for they can't get enough people to plow. Nobody wants to plow for the city. I was reading something about the city owing money and everything else, and
Well, what's interesting is the mayor told the Herald News that the city will have salt on Sunday. They're getting a delivery on Sunday. How we're getting a delivery on Sunday, I don't know. Meanwhile, a city councilor told me that they were told there was plenty of salt.
well, listen, nobody.
Is there plenty of salt, or are we getting it on Sunday? I don't know.
Well, James has already started. We can get to that, I guess. I got the video you do too. We got the video of a little excerpt of that little tete-a-tete. And I guess Kenny Pacheco's little snowflake feelings were upset. Kenny's not listen. School committeeman
Manny
Moniz,
Monis.
how dare you ask questions of an employee? How dare you? You're not supposed to ask these questions. I hope that the city council, some city councilors are watching that meeting to see what it's like to actually press somebody on an issue. Kenny,
the city council doesn't want to do it. The city council doesn't want to do it. They're all a bunch of pussies. Okay, the whole city council's pussies.
He melted like a little snowflake. It's a hostile working environment. Don't ask me those questions. Well, I remember, Kenny, when you were asked about the 22 windows.
22 windows.
And you never answered, even though you knew the answer. You should have been fired then. You're still working. That was what, 2012, 20? That's when you got suspended or something. I don't know. Some point in time. That was over a decade ago.
Did he even get suspended? I don't know.
It's okay, though, for Kenny to say, I didn't go out for bid. It was an emergency. I'm paying $4 million for the duct work. It's still all screwed up, and I haven't done a damn thing. And if you question me about it, I'm going to threaten you with a hostile. You know, school committeeman Motors, keep up the good work. Don't be intimidated. It's not a hostile environment to be asked a question. One of the questions was, why you got two people in a truck? You're paying two people overtime. Only one guy can drive the truck. Why are you doing that? You're right. I want to know that. That's a legitimate question. Why are you paying two people to ride around in a truck? Plowing snow. You only need one guy to drive the truck. If you let that other guy drive the truck, we got 16 straight hours of plowing. One guy can plow for 8 hours, put a day's work in. The other guy can come in and plow. Or they can get two trucks and do twice the work. I don't know.
What gets me is all of a sudden, Kevin Aguirre made a statement, which is right. He says, I don't find it unreasonable to mandate these people in an emergency to come and do snow removal. Oh, well, the contracts don't. And Kevin said, well, then renegotiate the contract. Right?
That's right.
I mean,
and that's not unheard of. CJ, you above all people, remember many years ago, because I did consult at one time for one of the locals in the Mass Nurses Association. They were having a lot of problems with the nurses when they were short-staffed statewide on mandatory overtime. Remember that issue?
I remember that.
I'm sure you remember that issue. There was a major issue with them being forced to work overtime because they would not hire people.
I was one of those people that was forced to work overtime for the state.
And so what did they do? They complained and they adjudicated it. But listen, Kenny Pacheco's a joke. Look, he's been getting away with shit since the 22 windows. He should have been fired. He's wasted more money. I want to know. Well, two people. What I want to know is, why are we paying somebody $100 an hour not to plow, but to see if they're plowing?
To see if they're plowing, exactly.
Why? And we got a bunch of them, and they're all Paul Coogan's buddies. I want to know why we've got to pay. Oh yeah, I worked 4 days during the blizzard of '78. I didn't come home,
and they didn't name a bridge after you. They didn't name a bridge after you.
I had two kids at home that didn't see me for 4 days. We had every shift, no room, firefighters sleeping on the floor for 4 days during the blizzard of '78. We never went home. Came in, I walked from the Flint to the Globe Fire Station in the blizzard. There were no cars on the road. I got lucky. The chief's car came by and picked me up at the top of Jefferson Street near Stafford Road. I was already nearly more than halfway to the Globe Station. But I had to walk, and we all had to walk because we couldn't drive. You're right. This is bullshit. This is the babies. You know why? Because Paulie and the old school committee, they didn't care. Kenny could do anything he wanted. Go ahead, Kenny. Spend money. Nobody's going to ask you why you didn't go out for bid. Nobody's going to ask you why we're paying people $100. What do they call them? Area supervisors or
area managers or something like that.
Area manager, and you get $100 an hour. Kiss Paul's ass, and you can get a job. You don't even need to buy a truck. Just kiss Paul's ass, and he's going to give you a job as an area manager to get $100 to say, oh, they're plowing the streets. That's DCM's job. They're plowing for the city. DCM is in charge. The guy who's in charge of the plowing should be out there checking to see if the plowing's being done. They should be reporting to someone.
Here's the interesting thing.
You don't need this bullshit.
Right. Here's the interesting thing. The city's screaming for help. Okay? They put excessive insurance requirements on plow drivers, requiring their insurance policy to name the city of Fall River as the insured, which increased the cost of the insurance,
I
which
wonder
took
where
away
they're
from the
getting that
money that the
insurance
plow
for.
driver was making. So the plow driver said, Bungle, okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm not making enough money. And I'm not going to wait until May or June to be paid. And that's the problem.
And that's exactly right, Kenny. About Kenny, Gene. He's got so much on everybody. He knew who was responsible for the 22 windows,
That's
so
right.
he wouldn't say. So then he got suspended for a couple of days. Then he gets a big pay raises. Then he goes over to the school department and he runs amok. But now he's got somebody here who said, "Hey, I got the video. You got the video." It's like the guy asked him. I'm a hustle working for him, and don't stop picking on me. I've been getting away with this shit for 30 years. How dare you? How dare you ask me about how I'm wasting the taxpayers' money? That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. I mean, it's a mess out there. I came out. I had an appointment to go to, and I came out after clearing my driveway, clearing my sidewalk after this storm, and I had a 4-foot dam of solid ice that they kept plowing into everybody's driveway. I had to get up 2 hours early and go out there with an icebreaker and a sledgehammer, break it up, and then take the giant pieces of ice that had been frozen to get out of my driveway. I still only got that much driveway, and it's a tight street. And it's hard to get into, hard to make swings. And it's hard for everybody. But I mean, listen, you got a school committeeman asking questions. Good. Manny, keep it up. You got my vote. And remember, what did they say? What budget did they use to pay for the excavations? Oh, yeah, take it out of the snow removal, right? We got so much bullshit that they can hide over there. Yeah. Well, they're afraid, Nelson. They're afraid. He's got the goods on everybody. They're afraid. That's the threat they all use. That's the threat they all use. How many people do you think that should have been fired, didn't get fired? They were allowed to leave quietly, retire, go get a new job, go put in for a thing. But you know why? They didn't fire him because they said, I'm going to rat everybody out. I know what happened up there. I know what happened in this department. I know who was doing the oil changes when he was at work and getting paid for it. I know who was sleeping with somebody at Durfee on duty and when they were on duty. I know I got all the dirt. I'm throwing everybody under the bus. Yeah, that's right. John Perry had a lot of dirt on people too. And I know that happens everywhere. It happens everywhere the city has got its tentacles. It's happened in the housing authority. They had a guy that got sexual harassment, numerous sexual harassment charges against him, had a file with sexual harassment. Then he finally crossed the line and they said, we're going to fire you. And he said, you're not going to fire me. I'm going to tell everybody about everything that I know here and everything that's going on in the city. And you know what happened? They gave him a year off with pay. Just like they did with the security guy. A year off with pay. Then they let him retire and they expunged his record. He had so much shit on them.
And he wanted that year off with pay included in his retirement.
But he didn't get that because he couldn't make the board. Because when it came before the board, I read the contract and I said, I can't believe this. He got a year off with a proviso in the agreement that he could not set foot on housing authority property. Couldn't do anything. And we came before the board and I went, he can't get the year. I looked at our attorney said, well, you're right. The statute says you actually got to show up for work to be credited. If you don't work, you don't get paid. And they said in writing that he didn't work. He couldn't even set foot on the property. So then he threatened to sue. And you know what I said? And what did the guys at the board say? Oh, geez, he's threatening to sue. So let him sue. He never did because we wasn't going to win. He didn't get the year from us, but he got a year off with pay. Because why? There's so much crap going on in the city all the time, and we don't know anything. There's no transparency. And look what happens when we get somebody to actually ask a question. Pay attention, City Council. Look at that video. Watch somebody doing their job. You know why, Kenny? You're right, Kenny. I know how crazy of me to think about this. Oh, my God. I can't believe it. I forgot. Tracy said you're supposed to be welcomed. It doesn't matter how bad you fuck up. It doesn't matter how much you freaking steal of the taxpayers' money. We want a welcoming environment. We got to welcome all our little rat bastards over here so they can steal the taxpayers' money.
And yes, James, we do know it was sold. It was sold for $150,000. The minimum bid was supposed to be $350,000. It was purchased by John Ferreira, a board member for the city of Fall River. Which sounds like running Ray Rumsey again. And yes,
seems like that's a little unethical, don't you think?
And here's what I was told why the city council approved him buying the property without meeting all the requirements. Okay? Because he had produced proof that he can complete the project. And it wasn't going to affect parking because parking was in the yard. Had nothing to do with the fact that he was a board member.
Isn't it ironic that I just did the I got the thing to read to every 2 years you've got to certify that you've looked at the conflict of interest. You don't have to do the whole thing anymore periodically. They send you a thing saying you read it, you got to read it and blah blah blah. And one of the things talks about how you can't even do anything that gives the perception of not being ethical. And if this is ethical, but nobody will do anything about it in the city because look, Coogan's biding his time. He's hiding Paul. He's going to hide, try to run out his time. We all know about the rumors of him leaving early and turning it over to the next regime, who are already showing what they're doing. But I want people to pay attention to that video. It is, it's tragic to listen to him cry like a little baby with all the shit he's gotten away with.
It can be found on the Fall River School Committee Facebook page, and it's Wednesday's subcommittee meeting.
So I've been doing this for 20 years. I know exactly what's going to happen when you cross the line. That's fine, but and then I'm going to pay two people. That's fine, but at the end of the day, at least that's not the way being shoveled. That's not the way. So we'll do it the right way. So yeah, let's go. Do it the right way. I haven't seen it yet. When I was excuse me, right now. Madam Clerk, please enter into the record that this is a hostile work environment, and I am not going to put up with it.
Kenny, I feel so bad for you.
That is my statement. That is my statement.
And who's running that freaking meeting? Kevin Aguirre. Kevin Aguirre run a meeting. He didn't ask for a point of order. He didn't ask for anything. He just he instructed the clerk. What to do.
And you and I know what a claim of a hostile work environment usually precedes. A lawsuit.
Yeah, of course. Well, he's trying to intimidate the new guy. He said, well, I'm going to sue you. There's going to be a lawsuit.
Right.
But did anybody dare walk up to the mic and try to claim a hostile environment when Malone was harassing people all over the school?
That's right.
No, you never heard that. Why do you think Paulie Coogan wanted his pal, Tommy Corey, to be vice chair? Kevin Aguirre actually said, well, he's got a point, let him ask the questions. But, oh, no. Well, Paul has become an honorary uh, member of the elite class. You know, he looks at people. He's got that condescending. They all got that condescending attitude now. Like, oh, you live in public housing. Oh, you don't own a house. Well, like that doesn't give you a right to speak. Oh, you know. Oh, ha ha ha. Peons. Well, the problem is that's the majority of Fall River. And as you said, uh, Trump took this city, and they don't care about anybody but rich developers and people who have money. And if you're not one of them, you virtually don't exist. And look at them. This is another classic example. You've got this. This shows it. A guy who got suspended, and I got it somewhere in this pile that I've got on my computer desk here. I've got the thing of him being suspended in 2012. The picture of him. This guy has gotten away with murder, absolute murder of the taxpayer's pocketbook for years. But then they get so used to being absolutely in charge where nobody can question them. How dare they? Shut up and let me steal your money. And that's it. So as soon as the worm turns, as soon as they get asked questions that they get uncomfortable with, they crumble like little cookies. Now, Kenny Pacheco supposedly negotiates contracts. I don't know if he's the designated, and that's against, and if that's the case, he should know enough, but he doesn't know shit. He just does whatever the hell he wants. He ignores the law. But the law says that you can open up a collective bargaining, you can open up an agreement anytime you want by mutual agreement. That's what the law says. And I know it verbatim. I don't care if the contract got signed yesterday. If both parties find something and they say, we want to go back to the table, you reopen. You can reopen on a specific area or you can reopen the entire collective bargaining agreement. That's the law. Now, obviously, the plow drivers, that union is going to go, oh, we don't want to open up. They're going to say, oh, no, we don't want to open up. Why? Because we're screwing the people. So then what you do in the union management conflict, now you go to the city and say, we tried to save you money. They want us to give somebody $125 an hour, or whatever they're getting paid for riding shotgun in a truck that's plowing. We want to eliminate that. They don't want to bargain. So now you go to the JLMC and you file an unfair labor practice. They don't want to bargain in good faith on this issue. You can say the city costs money, or you can just, there are other manners that I'm not going to give them any collective bargaining advice unless they pay me, but there are ways to get around this. But Kenny Pacheco is full of shit. He doesn't want to do that because he's got all his friends riding shotgun. Just like Paul gave those guys all a job for $100 an hour being area, whatever the hell they are, supervisors, overseers, or whatever they don't plow. They get $100 an hour because they kiss Paul's ass. Somebody going to call for an audit? No. Let's see the council. Grow some balls, council. And speaking of the council, we had an issue about what happened there with Councilor Canuel. I did send them the copy of what I read about their obligation and what their duty is. And he got back to me, and he also said that, and CJ got a copy of it too, that he was never spoken to by Andrew Raposo or Cliff Conte. That was not true. Somebody else spoke to him about it and said it looked like a good idea. And the way they handled that was to circumvent a good idea. They did it intentionally to deflect away from the fact that he was asking some legitimate questions. They may not have been framed properly, but they were not trying to serve the public. They were trying to serve the mayor and the ruling class. Yeah, but she doesn't care. Well, it's that's up to the feds to squash them, because what they're doing right now is they're trying to pass legislation to eliminate and defund, although they can do it unilaterally, but they want to actually pass it to eliminate the ability of anybody to getting themselves a sanctuary city. I'm kind of on the fence with churches. Churches have always been a place where people could go for and if they go into a church, well, you can't go in and lock them up, but you can just say the church doesn't get anything going in until they come out, and then ultimately they'll come out because. But all the rest of the places, listen, they're creating this problem strictly for politics. We've said it a million times. This has got nothing to do with illegals. This has got nothing to do with anything. This has got to do with the 26 midterms. This has got to do with having another George Floyd, and telling everybody how terrible the government is, and making everybody a commie, because this is what's going to be get half of the nutcases on a lunatic fringe to vote Democrat. It's all about getting votes. Just transpose George Floyd with Renee Good, or the other guy, who, by the way, now there's video of him spitting on an ICE agent, violently kicking the back of spitting on an agent, and kicking the tail light, breaking the tail light, and kicking it again, and knocking the entire housing off the thing. And then when they got out to try to arrest him, he violently resisted arrest. They should have locked him up then. He had a gun during that incident too. So their pretense that this guy was some kind of Mother Teresa. Oh, he's a nurse. He works at the VA helping veterans, and he's a wonderful guy. And, he gives cookies to little children and everything else. It was like, fuck you, spit on him, kick the freaking thing, got a gun in his waistband, but he's a nice guy. And that was a peaceful protest. His lawyer said they had no right. They hurt his rib in that first incident. The fact that he tried to spit on an agent, resisted arrest, was no cause. The Democrats are always full of shit. Everything they tell you is full of shit. This has got nothing to do with illegal aliens. This has got to do with ginning the public up to hate the people that are enforcing the laws, to keep them from bringing millions more in here and getting more. They're going to lose seats now because they're getting rid of these people, and they're going to lose House seats. So this is all about politics and not about anything. But we have a bunch of, frankly, there are a bunch of imbeciles in this. I mean, they're all mental defectives. I mean, just watch some of the videos of these people talking. They're mental defectives. No, yeah, you're right, Adeline. It's all about power. The Democrats would sacrifice anybody's life. You notice not one of them is saying, I'm going to go stop a bullet. They got nuts out there saying, shoot me. Shoot me. I want to be shot. I want to be a martyr. I mean, you got to be nuts. You really got to be nuts. I'm telling you. This is crazy. You don't see the politicians. The politicians are egging them on. That's right. If you're white, throw your body in front of them. Oh, protect the brown people. Oh, yeah, we already had George Floyd, so he ginned up the black people. Let's gin up them by let them kill a white person. And I mean, these people are nuts. And it's all about what? They want to have absolute power. That's what they want. I know. They don't care about wildlife. They don't care about birds. They don't care about fish. They don't care about birds. And but the federal government, and they're all politicians, because right now, if it wasn't going into a midterm election year, which always favors the non-incumbent party, I think they would be stopping funding to these cities a lot quicker, because they don't want to make it even. Yeah, yeah. Everybody on the other side is a Nazi, a fascist. We're all murderers, but they're not. But they're the ones who want to murder everybody. They're the ones who spray on the side of an ice car. The only good ice agent is a dead ice agent. And the other guy brings a 9mm with two high capacity magazines to the peaceful protests. But we're the Nazis. Now you notice all of them. You notice all of them now, all the anti-gun people all want them to buy guns. They're telling all their friends to go buy guns now. Let's go buy guns. We're going to have a revolution. I saw one of them post it. There's going to be a civil war. We're going to win because we control the water. It's like, yeah, you think so? I don't think so. Now, Nelson, I got to be perfectly truthful. All that bullshit's not going to fly.
Yeah, I don't think a forensic audit's going to happen at all.
I don't care if Chris Peckham does put it up. It's not going to fly because you know what Sean Kadim's going to go. We don't need a forensic audit. You got me. You don't even have to add. I need a blank check. I know everything that's right. You elected me. I spend your money any way I want. Fuck the Constitution. I don't care. Batman will say that. Robin will be right there saying he's passionate about this. Yeah, let's hope they, let's hope they do.
What's interesting about that? It's funny you should bring that up, okay? Because the 30% solar energy credit to the citizens who put solar panels on their homes ended December 31st. All of a sudden, 12 major solar companies have gone out of business. No warranties, no service, no nothing. And there was nothing in their contracts. And all those people are screwed now. Okay? It's also no longer profitable to be in the business. There are no tax credits. The tariffs are unbelievable. So what's more really going to do? Sue for that? We got to have that back. We need that. We need that solar energy. We have to have it.
Well, pay for it.
Yeah.
She can't mandate the federal government. There is still a supremacy clause. And you're right, Jeff. Yeah, you're right, Gene. Nothing of it.
That's James.
No, I'm telling you, Gene. I'm reading Gene's post up above. Yeah, and he needs somebody to do what Manny Moniz did to Pacheco. You need somebody to say, but they ignore you.
Hey, you know what? Look. Hey, Kenny Pacheco says this is a hostile work environment. It's not a hostile work environment. He's passionate. He's passionate.
That's right. Manny's passionate.
He's passionate.
Passionate Manny Moniz. Good man.
That's right.
Hey, I tell you, I got a new guy that's moving up on the list now. He stood up and he told him, and like I said, he wants to completely deflect. Oh, it's a hostile environment. Stop, you're picking on me. Oh, Superintendent Curley, we want to welcome an environment. He's not welcoming me to screw the taxpayer. How dare he ask why we got two people riding in a truck and we're paying both of them?
Right.
Do you need somebody else to plow for you? No, if you can't drive, you shouldn't be in a truck. You drive in a truck, get that other guy. And like I said, everything he says is bullshit. And none of them ever correct it. Manny actually made sense. Council, pay attention. How many times have you done that? Never. We go up there, we tell you what's wrong, and you ignore it. You say, okay, you had your 3 minutes. Screw. We send you the letter. They're going to be $2 million short. They're $2 million short. Did you ever hold them accountable? No. No, we're $2 million short. You had the letter when Coogan got into office. It was going to happen. You got it 6 years later. When it did happen, I sent you another copy of what I wrote. You were told you saw Sahadi padding the budget $5 million. Were there any consequences for that? No. No. You never hold anybody accountable. You're all full of shit. You're all alligator mouths attached to canary asses. You won't hold anybody accountable. So, and no matter who tells you, whether CJ tells you, I tell you, somebody else, you got Counselor Canuel going up and asking, I got numbers here. I want to see. Oh, shut up, you. How dare you want to actually ask for numbers? So, and we allow this by putting these bozos in office. If I wish we had a crystal ball for that election, because I know that Coogan wouldn't have won it. And Coogan is hiding. He's laying real low. Yeah, you think? Yeah. But has anybody ever asked that on the city council side? No. You had a guy on the school committee side say, why we got two people in a truck?
Right.
Why we got people that aren't even in a truck? I don't think these guys are getting $100 an hour.
Somebody asked me, where's all the money going for the citations that were issued? 2,400 citations at $65 a pop, with 147 vehicles being towed. Number one, I think the number of vehicles towed was too small. I think they should have towed more.
You want to give me those numbers again? How many citations?
2,400.
$156,000.
Yep.
Just in citations. So, but look, the man asked the question, and looks what happened. Yeah. Absolutely.
And there's no excuse, because the only budget that they can deficit spend on is snow removal.
That's right.
So there's no excuse.
Everybody else was praying for no snow. Coogan was praying for freaking 78 to come back.
And the thing is that when you look at this, when was the last time the city did a survey of neighboring cities and towns and how much they pay their plow drivers? When was the last time?
Never.
Right?
I don't think they've ever done that.
Right. And you've got New Bedford. I think New Bedford, don't quote me on it, but I think New Bedford's paying $200 or $250 an hour. Where do you want to go work? In Fall River for $1.25 an hour and get paid in June? Or in New Bedford for $250 an hour and get paid next month?
A very good point. They put up insurance restrictions, right?
But they took them away.
Who's selling them? I wonder who's selling them their insurance.
I know. That's something to find out.
I can take a wild guess. Yeah, and I also remember when they testified at Jazel's trial that they paid an excavation bill out of the snow removal account.
That's right.
That's a giant slush fund, and nobody can track it.
And that was for Kilburn Street, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't that for Kilburn Street?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, that's still true, because we couldn't, we can't have civilians riding. When I was on a fire department, I couldn't let somebody ride on the fire truck with me. Unless it was like a parade or something like that. It was a special circumstance, but nobody came. I couldn't drive somebody around in a chief's car, or when I was a lieutenant or captain, I couldn't drive them around on my truck. You can't do that. They're not indemnified. You realize that I'm thinking about this, and like I said, I spent 4 days in a fire station during a blizzard of 78. Didn't come home. But you know, they actually did a better job in 78 with 28 inches of snow than they did with this. And granted, I will give them the benefit of saying they didn't have anywhere near the amount of trucks that they had then. Because why? As you just said, CJ, nobody wants to work here. They got ridiculous freaking things, and they'll go work somewhere else because this city, you have to get insurance. Like I say, who's selling that insurance? I know who's selling a lot of insurance to the city.
Yeah.
I could put a hypothetical, but not hypothetically, but legally. Yeah. I guess, you know, you're not supposed to use fire department vehicles. Some of them are allowed to use a fire department vehicle to go back and forth from their house. I don't know about the state police, but the thing is that they're not indemnified for by the city. If you get into an accident with a city vehicle, you know, theoretically, probably because you know somebody, they wouldn't enforce it. But you have to be doing city business. I mean, if you're going and coming from home and you have it, and the thing is, if you're given a city vehicle, you do not get a gas allowance.
But they were getting.
We caught them. We caught them. They were getting a gas. They were getting a gas allowance and a city vehicle. So we caught them.
And using the city gas and going to the city gas.
That's right. For everything.
And they were using the same card for every vehicle.
That's right. They all had the code to the gas pumps. Yeah.
That's right.
If we ever did a in-depth forensic audit, that's the problem. When they built the old Durfee, 2 guys, somebody went to jail and a whole bunch of people quit. Yeah, I don't know. But it's, you know, you wonder why the city's broke all the time. It's like, look, I know you got to spend money. You have to have the streets plowed. You have to pay these people, but there has to be accountability. Like, you know, Manny Monis was right. Why you got 2 people in a truck? You're paying both people. The other guy's not doing anything. He's watching the guy plow. Get him out, put him in another truck. We get double the amount of work done, or split it up. One 8-hour shift. The other guy jumps in the truck and drives another 8 hours. We got 16 continuous hours of plowing.
Well, Andrew Raposo, James, has aspirations to be the mayor. And I asked the city councilor this week, when is the new form of government going to come before the city council to go be sent to the state and be given to the people for a vote? Oh, I don't know.
Well, there are a lot of allegations, James, about Cougar not finishing his term. And there's also a lot of, you know, allegations about, well, there's been a deal made to turn it over and then they're going to take it over. And it's to talk about the change in form of government and blah, blah, blah. No one's ever held responsible.
That's right.
Like I said, Kenny Pacheco went nuts. That, you know, broke down like a snowflake, and it's hostile to ask me why I'm paying 2 people to do the job that 1 person can do. I don't know. Reopen a contract. I don't even want to talk about it. You notice I got that on tape. He didn't even want to talk about reopening a contract. I don't want to talk about it. Well, that's tough shit. Yeah, you know, you're being asked by a school committeeman, and you're being asked about wasting the taxpayers' money. You have an obligation to answer the question, but you also had an obligation to say who screwed up the 22 windows, and you didn't. And that got you another 20 years worth of raping the city with nobody looking over your shoulder. Maybe you got a couple of people. I hope this guy doesn't back off because he got threatened with a Hostile work environment. How hostile do you think that environment was for those women that Malone badgered? How hostile do you think with the person who was handicapped, who he tortured, and the person who had disabilities, and the person who was mentally challenged that he harassed? And this guy had a known record of this. He had been thrown out of the
He came to us with it. That's why we hired him.
That's why we hired him. Yeah. He got thrown out of Swampscott for sexual harassment. He got thrown out of Brockton because he was a dud. And Fall River hires him. This is what we do. Let's hire. Who are we going to hire? Wait a minute. You got somebody here that's a really sharp person to be the superintendent of schools. No, let's let her go to Rhode Island and become superintendent in a year, and we'll hire somebody that wants a welcoming environment, but she doesn't give a shit that the school system is a mess. And her job is to welcome everybody. Shut up. Don't ask questions. I'm shutting off my phone. I'm getting rid of my emails. I am not accountable to you people. I'm the superintendent, and I just do whatever Paul tells me to do, and I just keep getting my paycheck. Because we don't want somebody here that's going to hold.
Because I keep my mouth shut and I keep my head down, and people forget.
Yeah, well, Seekonk does have a plenty of money. He doesn't care, because what they're doing is they have adopted the Paul Coogan method. It's like, we're going to take care of all the rich people, let them build all they want, get as much kickback, get as much money, get as much investments. He even got. Yeah, I wonder how much Rumsey's doing with his investments now in market rate housing. Nobody's tracking him. That's not much of an ethical violation, is it? I don't know. But the thing is that they don't care what they do to the city. It's like Detroit. You think anybody gave a shit about what they did to Detroit? No, they couldn't sell a house for $1. People couldn't afford rents. Look at people living in the streets all over the country. The Democrats don't care.
Better be careful, Nelson. They'll shut you off.
Now, because remember, it's not We Suck at Radio anymore. It's We Suck Even
More at Radio.
That's right. But we will see. But look, this is the key. This is why they hated Trump and Doge. This is why they hate anybody looking at anything. Because whether it's the city and where Pike is by their standards, the state or the federal government, their head bursts into flames when you say you're gonna look into the way they're spending their money, and it may be fraud. Look at what happened in Minnesota. Billions. Look on the federal government.
Speaking of fraud, DeZuglio found that Massachusetts has $4 million in SNAP fraud, or $4.1 billion in SNAP fraud.
Yep.
SNAP fraud. Food stamps.
No, you're right, Joe. Look, you can't compare Seekonk. Seakonk's only got like 18,000 people.
That's
and
right.
Their income is almost triple what it is in Fall River. And they got all kinds of businesses. Ever drive down Route 6 through Seekonk and look at all the stores?
All businesses.
You know, they got
without tips.
Without tips. But now he comes over here and he's called. Look, they're looking for it. But let me say something. I had a conversation with somebody earlier today. He talked about the changing the form of government. We've always been an advocate of that form of government, but I'm going to tell you something. You're only as good. The government is only as good as the people that you elect and the people that you hire to work for you. This city has never, ever hired the right people unless you go back, I don't know, 100 years. I don't know. But who do we hire? We hire people with a degree in political science to be in charge of finance. We try to hire ice house guards. It's like we're like the we're like the antithesis of what you should do.
On the job training, baby. On the job training.
Are you qualified for this job? No, you got it. Oh, wait a minute. This other one's got a PhD in this. Well, I don't care. Get rid of them. I want this one because we want to be welcoming. They don't care, frankly. Look, like these Democrats, they don't care. They just flat do not care about regular people. They never did. Everything they do. And they'll even sacrifice them. That's why I detest the Democratic Party so much. These politicians in Washington are telling people, and their mayors are telling them to get in front of a bullet. Go get killed. Run your car into a...
I'm wondering, did Maureen Healey's executive order and all of her pushing for special legislation to bar ICE from acting in Massachusetts come because of the abuse and fraud in a federal program similar to, Minnesota?
Oh, absolutely.
There you go.
Well, remember,
And
they don't want you to look
up.
what happened in Minnesota. They're now finding massive fraud, and we all knew that
Right.
in California. But you know what else? Every level. Start at the federal level. Look at what Doge found. Condoms for people in Bangladesh and drag shows in somewhere in East Overshoe. And look, then you go down to the state level. You got Minnesota. How about our own politicians not wanting to be audited? You think they're afraid of being exposed? No, they don't have their own power. Yeah. Well, Cliff wants to be in charge. When Coogan goes, Batman and Robin want to take over the city. That's it. You don't have to be a fortune teller to see the way this is lining up. They want to take the city over. Yeah, he knows that, but he doesn't care, Nelson. He knows that. I mean, you got a town of 18,000. I don't know if their fire department still works. And if I'm wrong, somebody can correct me. But at one time, Seekonk only had a fire department Monday through Friday. The paid department only worked weekdays. They had a volunteer department on the weekends. So, it's apples and oranges. Apples and oranges. Like a guy once told me a long time ago, they said, why does Somerset make the money they make? They don't have anywhere near the fires. I said, because Somerset, 95% of the town pays taxes. I said, you realize in Fall River only 50% of the properties pay taxes? It's either public land or church land.
Right.
I said, look at the budget. And Somerset still, and their fire department. At one time, the fire department budget in the city of Fall River was much larger than the entire town budget of Somerset. You cannot compare towns like Seekonk with 18,000 people to cities of nearly 100,000. Yeah. Well, we can destroy them with the voting hammer if people ever show up, and that's the problem. People got to show up. That's the problem, everybody. You can't. We got more snow coming in this weekend. There might be another, but imagine imagine if that thing shifts and we get another 6 or 7 or 8. I don't even want to think about that. God, it's horrific. But it's good to know that all our people stayed safe. And
well, they're wondering how they're going to handle another 3 inches. Imagine 6. They don't know how they're going to handle 3.
No. Well, I mean, yeah, they are. and it always, it always bothers me. And the problem is, this is a one-party state, and the Democrats do everything to keep it, but the Republicans help, because the Republicans in this state and all over the place, they're always fascinated.
The Republicans in this state do not support their Republican candidates. That's the problem.
Fight amongst each other.
That's right.
The thing is that you never see, Democrats will fight to a degree, but once they determine who the candidate is, they back them 100%. Where the Republicans, they
trip over each other and try to get them out of the way.
They're always arguing with each other.
Yeah.
And rather than say, okay, you can argue all you want, but once we determine that we're going to have to put a candidate in, let's beat the Democrats. The Democrats, as dumb as they are, and as totally oblivious of the regular people in this country, they have one thing that makes them dangerous. That once they get a candidate, they support that candidate. They may not be happy with them, but they want a D there, not an R.
They can't be that stupid. They're the controlling party in this state, so they can't be that stupid. They're the controlling party in this state.
It's almost like the Republicans are saying, if you don't elect me, you elect the other guy. I hope they get a Democrat in, because it should be me, not the other guy. Well, it should be an R, not a D, if you believe in the party. And I'm an independent. Yeah, well, therein lies the problem. I can't believe the Cabbage Patch Kid, Maura Healey, will get another term. She is arguably the worst governor we have ever had in history. I guess we were getting 1,000 people a month leaving Massachusetts. I get if she gets in, it's going to be a factor that we've gotten so many people that went south to go to places that are normal, that they will now totally control it. I mean, they've controlled it for years. But
James, in Massachusetts, it is Democrat and Republican, one candidate each. And then all the others come out of the woodwork. Independents, Rainbow Party, all of that, they get thrown on the ballot too. So, but only one Democrat and one Republican can make it to the ballot. Again, fixed ballot. And now they want to make it ranked choice voting.
Oh.
Can you see that happening? Ranked
choice
voting?
That. No, I hate that ranked vote. That's BS.
Yeah.
That's BS. Ranked voting.
If you don't get enough votes here, you go to the next category.
Yep.
You've got to get at least 50% of the votes. Otherwise, you don't move on. I thought it was 50% plus one to win, but
look, they'll manipulate as much as they can to give themselves an advantage, and that thing gives them a political advantage. So
right,
that's it.
Right.
Well, now, okay, Jimmy. Now they got a 24/7. At one time, they didn't.
That's right.
So I'm dating myself. It was a long time. It's been a while since I was involved with those guys.
Yep.
But I knew at one time they had a weekday department.
All right. I want to thank you all for watching. Remember, it's going to be cold this weekend. Minus degrees up to minus 20. Okay. The temperature is going down to about 7 degrees right now without the wind. With the wind, it's below zero. Stay off the streets. Stay warm. Let your water drip a little bit so your pipes don't freeze. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Monday. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend.